Well, thank y'all so much for having me here today. It is truly an honor to be here and speak with all of y'all, and for the BBB to invite me here. We've actually been fortunate enough to do work for them for the past 3 years or so now and place their media for them. So I've really gotten to know a lot about the really wonderful things that the BBB does to help the community and the businesses. So like I said, just thank y'all for being here and having me here today. So I wanted to start out and just very briefly give y'all a little bit of background on Encore Multimedia and our team. We started out, Dean started the company in 1994. I joined in 1999, so I've been there for 23 years now. Media has changed a lot since then. I'm sure y'all know. I started out designing car ads for the newspapers. So I always kind of say I cut my teeth on car lots, so there wasn't any Facebook, wasn't any social media back then. I mean, there barely was, but we were still placing double trucks in newspapers and barely had email. Our company has been fortunate enough to grow quite a bit throughout the years. We've expanded our services. We are a full-service marketing agency, so traditional, digital. We also have another company, ED Suite, that is a sister company of ours. We create economic development websites for hundreds of cities across the U.S. So we really have a good mix of businesses and things that we're always working with. Then, so 2019 was our 25th anniversary, and then in 2022, which is really exciting for us, my boss, Dean, ex-boss now, he decided to retire, although he wouldn't call it a retirement. So, I think he's probably busier now than he was. So we have a new owner, and he has wonderful experience he was the director of communications for Hostess, for the Coast Guard. Really is bringing a lot of different opportunities to our business, and so anyway, we're real excited for the future with all of that. So again, as Coleman mentioned, we were the Better Business Bureau Large and Veteran-Owned Business of the Year in 2019. That was a true honor for us. I remember sitting at the table, and just hoping they would call our name when they did. I mean, it was just one of probably the best moments in all of our work history. So our areas of specialization, again, we are multifaceted. So from everything print, branding, media placement, content creation. We try to do it all. My role there, just to kind of give you a brief overview, we'll go on to this. I am the strategic media director. What I do, I create strategic marketing plans for all of our businesses. What that entails is really taking a look at the business. Now, remember, we are fortunate to have a team behind us. So we have graphic designers, we have copywriters, video people, project managers. Everyone has their own specialty that they do. So we are very fortunate to come together as a team to have that to serve all of our businesses. Then again, my role is to create the media plans, which that involves first and foremost picking which media and which mediums is best for each business and the goal they're trying to achieve, and then putting a budget to it. Many different ways that I go about deciding that, and we'll kind of go through that in some of the slides that we're going through today. The way I'm approaching these slides today is to go through a couple of different digital mediums, give a little bit of education, and then kind of what I'm seeing as trends and what we're at our company and just, out there are seeing as some trends that are coming. A little bit of history of why I think some of the things that I'm pointing out here are important to us these days. So that'll be the flow. and we'll have a question and answer at the end, and on each slide I have some questions for y'all. But if any of y'all have any questions during it, we can do it like school, raise your hand, and we can talk it out, because it sounds like we have such a wonderful variety of knowledge and breadth of just different businesses here, and you all have your different challenges and opportunities that you're facing. So I'm really excited to get into this. So again, we're going to go over search, apps, YouTube, display, email, SMS, social, and connected TV today, streaming TV. So I'm going to start out with search, and I'm starting this slide because search, you go online, you need a service, you're going to search for it. This is your most, probably, in my opinion, your most direct contact with the customer that has that need at the moment. A couple of different things I wanted to talk about. We've got different search engines: Google, Bing, Yahoo, Apple, all kinds of different ones. Now, Google has, of course, the lion's share of that with 86%, it's probably 90%, it varies. And I listed Bing up there. Again, I want this to kind of be a little bit of educational, because I think you need to know about the mediums a little bit more before you can really see the trends that are coming. So Bing, we actually run ads on Bing. One of the reasons why is you're not competing with the other 86% of businesses that are on Google. Now, of course, if you have unlimited budget, which if any of y'all do, please call me. We would be on all of the search engines all the time. But when you have the choice, Google probably is our first default one. Again, with search, and a lot of this y'all probably are familiar with, some of it you may not be, so forgive me if I'm being a little, elementary here. But you only pay when somebody clicks on the ad. So you have to think, even though you're not competing with all of the people, you still are paying for people seeing your ad and they're clicking on your message. So a lot of times with Bing, you can get a little bit more specific. Now, I'm not saying that to try to say Bing is better than Google or either one. They're both very important. Getting a little bit more into the trends of search, what we're seeing these days, responsive ads. And you probably have heard the term responsive more used in the website world. In the web world, responsive means that your website basically resizes itself to fit on any screen. Google has really it's almost the only way you can do ads, search ads on Google now, are responsive. And what that means, so in the old days, we used to give Google 3 headlines and 2 descriptions, and that would be your ad. Now you give them at least 14 different headlines, 10 different descriptions, and the way Google does that is according to what you search for, they match it up with which headline is most appropriate. And with Google, it's all about being the right fit for what you've searched for. So if they've got information that matches exactly what you search, they want to give that to you. So it's really important to, if you're setting up your own search ads or if you have a company doing it for you, to make sure that you give Google all of the information that they want. Optimized for conversions, what that means is making sure you have conversion code, if you can, placed on the website. That's getting a little bit technical, and I don't want to get too much into the actual setup and educational side of this. But another opportunity with Google is just on the more doing it yourself side. Google offers amazing customer service and consultations, and you can call them and they will help you set up your account, run your ads for you. Well, they won't run your ads for you, but they really are a good resource. And I wanted to be sure to point out any resources that we've found to y'all, if you are trying to do some of these things yourself. And moving back to the example that I have here, I wanted to show you, you can see this company has given the first power washing company at the top, they've given Google more information than those other two. So they've got more real estate, more opportunity for the customer to click right there to request your quote, commercial services. So overall, give Google all of the information, and they want it all. You know, Google wants all of the information. On the flip side of that, we've got organic search. And a lot of people think that, well, that's the non-paid side, and it really, in all search, you're going to pay for it one way or the other, whether you're paying to consistently keep your website updated, or you're doing it yourself, because that's the main thing that the search engines nowadays are going to look at to rank you higher. I'm sure y'all have all got calls, you know, from the SEO people that can rank you high, and I'm so glad those have finally kind of stopped, because they just never worked. You know, it's just, and we used to get calls for them too. So just overall, and I won't go into too much of the organic, because honestly, my side and my expertise is the paid side of media. So update your content. One of the neat things I saw, a way to keep your content updated for Google to see it, and your customers too, is to update, like if you keep a blog or your news stories, go in and update them. You know, that's some good information that you've already spent time to write. Just go in and make an update to it. Of course, the user experience of not only your website, the way you write the ads too. Google is all about the user experience. So they want to see you search for something, and then you get that phrase, or that your website answers your question of what you're searching. And they can see that now. And you'll rank higher, you'll get preferred placement. Just make sure that, I mean, you know, the old thing was, you know, you don't want somebody searching for dogs and then they get cats, you know, so. And one other thing I really wanted to touch on as far as the search is the BBB accreditation and the BBB business directory, which I would imagine most of you here are a part of and you are listed. But that is an amazing service that you don't have to be accredited to sign up for. So it's a whole listing of businesses, and truly, I mean, when people are searching for a business, I'm sure y'all know this, they see a BBB business or a BBB listing, they really are more likely to trust that. It kind of goes back to the old, you know, you kind of see an ad, you know, they're just advertising to me. But you see a listing on the BBB site, you know, that, to me, that definitely carries more weight. So I wanted to put that as the organic side. So if you're not listed on the BBB directory right now, you know, just see anybody on their team and they can help y'all get a profile and get set up to be a part of that. So one of the hottest trends that I've seen in search, and probably one of the biggest changes, are the dynamic ads and automation. And that does kind of go back to where you have to give Google 14 headlines, different descriptions. And when I say headlines and descriptions, you can see the blue, professional power washing, that's your headline, make your home look new again, that's your description. So Google is automating those searches by, again, what the person searches for and the information that you've got into Google to use. Now, dynamic ads are, you know, you hear a lot about with Google Ads, you have to have a list of keywords, and that's the traditional way to do it. If you have a business that offers multi-services, let's say like an auto parts store where people, you know, they have hundreds and thousands of different parts someone could be looking for. Well, Google can look at your website and basically scan the content of your website so they know all of the things that you offer. And you can have Google run a dynamic ad where it will basically create its own list of keywords so it knows that when somebody searches for a service, you've got that on your website, you've got the dynamic ad set up, it knows to put that together with y'all. And they really do, you know, Google likes to have a lot of control, I feel, and that in that sense, you're giving Google your whole website to use as keywords and information that it can use to serve the ads to people. So again, I only put one trend on this because that's really the biggest change and biggest thing that I've seen. So want to move on next. Any questions on that slide? Yes.
How frequently should you put up a new blog? You say, how much is too much? How much is?
And honestly, you're thinking of more writing for the human too on that. So I would think of it more whenever you have good content to put out and you really have something good for people to read, put it out. Because Google these days, I think, and not only Google, all search engines, and humans too, don't think of it more just to put something out to please the search engines, put it out to please your customers, and then you'll get the benefits of Google seeing that. So I don't know that there's a specific number of too much or there is too little. If you never update it, once a month, twice a month, I would say.
For example, they have something that people can okay, I know that there's an update, they're going to have a new article and I'm interested in what they're writing about every week.
Mm-hmm.
More about developing habits for your...
I think being consistent with it, yes. If you get a good following, and that'll kind of go back when we get to an email slide, being consistent with whatever you're doing, make yourself a calendar, make sure it's something that you can keep up with. Because the search engines will also see the gap, and your customers will too, so a lot of it, like I said, it's moving more back to the human side than, we used to just update 7 times a week just to make sure that we were trying to please those algorithms. So, yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
What about DuckDuckGo, a search engine like DuckDuckGo? Is there any value do they even allow advertising on there?
Don't believe they do.
Okay. I was wondering, since the nature of what they are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I've never placed ads on there, and I've never, I've used it before.
Right.
And that probably goes back to more your organic side to really have a presence on the search engines like that, I would say. Yeah. Great question though, because that's a search engine that you really, the people that use it really know about it. And then, there's a side that really kind of, you just think Google and Bing. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. The next is YouTube. So YouTube, how many of y'all watch YouTube here? Okay, so almost everybody, I would imagine. First and foremost, the reason we're all here is to learn. YouTube is a wonderful resource to learn about anything. Change your taillight on your car, which I did learn how to do on mine with YouTube, to even me preparing for this presentation. Just looking and seeing what other people are, because that's a part of keeping up with trends. You can't do it on your own. You have to look and see what other people are doing, ask questions to other people. YouTube's the second largest search engine. Google owns YouTube, so a lot of the back end of the ads are consistent now. 81% of adults use YouTube and 62% visit it daily. And it's probably more than that, So YouTube has a very powerful effect to help people make a decision. When a person sees a video, they see someone talking about the product or giving a testimonial about the product, they really are more likely to buy from that product. In our business, or our agency, we started out as primarily a video agency, so we always felt that sight, sound, motion, emotion that you get with video that you do not get with a search ad. Now, there's 2 sides of marketing. I'm sure y'all are familiar. You've got the top of mind awareness, and then you've got the direct need. YouTube's kind of a chameleon of both. You can use it both ways now. One of the ways that we've been using it since Google owns YouTube, you can actually keyword target your YouTube ads now. So I'll give you an example. ABC Auto Parts is a client of ours, and so for some of their home delivery videos that we just released, we put in keywords like of people who would say be looking for how to change a battery. You know, those are the people that could benefit from ABC delivering them a battery to their home, or at least know that they have their service, because we know you've at that point got the type of person who's going to be working on their own vehicle. You know, people looking up insurance, looking up, you know, mobile notary, you know, whatever. That is really the beauty of YouTube, is that you can have the keyword search and then also, you know, bring up that video where they can really get to know your business. Now you can also present it with a broad brush by category targeting, interest. You've got multiple ad formats, skippable, non-skippable. What we've seen that interested me, and it was not our intention, about 15% just across all of our clients don't skip the videos. But remember, that's never needs to, unless you're running a non-skippable ad, that really probably never needs to be your intention with a YouTube ad. And a lot of it too, remember, these are people who may just be watching YouTube, and it's more of a top of mind awareness if you're presenting a broad brush to people and you're not keyword targeting it. So one of the, getting into more of the trends of the YouTube videos that we're seeing are live videos and YouTube shorts. Have any of y'all done a live video on YouTube for your business yet? Hey? How did it go with you? Did you like the experience?
I did.
Yeah, it's kind of scary at first, and I am not one to want to be in front of the camera either. I much prefer being behind the computer, figuring out the analytics, setting up the accounts. But it really, you know, I think what we've all seen with YouTube, with the live videos and TikTok and just the emergence of different video mediums, is people appreciate seeing people, and they're moving more, just an overall trend in advertising. They don't want to be advertised to anymore, and you can really, people are getting much smarter and much more discerning about whether you're being just served an ad or you're being served by a business who really wants to get to know you and, you know, help you with your problem and provide a solution. So you can really get to know your clients. You know, you can comment back to them. Same thing with Facebook and, you know, some of the Instagram services that they have. Now, again, a trend with YouTube now is the ability to convert viewers into subscribers for your channel if you do keep up a YouTube channel. Now, to run YouTube ads, you do have to have a YouTube channel, and that's kind of one of the beauties of YouTube too, because you can pay for the views, and when you pay for those views, it shows up on your YouTube channel. So if you have a video on there that's had 10 views and then you push an ad to it, you know, you can really up that view number. And people really do, I think they do pay attention to that. They give that, if you see a video that has 1 view versus 1 million views, you know, which one are you more likely to click on to look? So, and another trend that we've seen is the live shopping. And people are doing a lot of this on Facebook, Instagram. You know, people are really, and a lot of on the, I won't get into it too much, the technical side of it. You know, these platforms are developing, you know, platforms within themselves where you can purchase the products without ever leaving either YouTube or Facebook. So that's really, I think, you know, if you are a business that has a service that somebody can purchase right there, that's really, I think, something interesting to look at with them. And how-to videos on YouTube, you know, those are, they've always been popular on YouTube. I mean, that's probably how YouTube really got its start. So just a couple of trends. Again, I highly recommend, as much as you can, being on YouTube. If you're not comfortable doing the video yourself, find a company that can help you out with it. And a lot of on YouTube, especially with the shorts and things like that, remember it's always nice to have a super professional video. But again, on the flip side of that, people also appreciate just getting to know you as the business owner. They really, really do. So let's see. Well, the next are local news apps. And I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about this because, and I'm using KLTV as an example. We have CBS, NBC, Fox, you've got other ones. KLTV really is the news leader in our area, so they have over 8 million page views per month. Again, this is a top of mind awareness type of advertising. How many of y'all use news apps in here? Do y'all, especially, when we've got a tornado warning coming in, where you're going to, at least around in our area, y'all probably know who you're going to go look for. So leading into that, I wanted to talk about the share of voice. And this kind of gets into different ways to buy media. You can either buy it where you pay for the impressions, and the impressions are basically every time somebody sees your ad. That's an ad impression. Or you can buy from some different media share of voice. And what that means, let's say every time somebody loads the Channel 7 app, you have an ad that comes up, when it loads or while you're looking at news stories. So if you have either a weather event or a big news event, you've got more people loading that app and more ad spaces, technically, because the more people that load the app, the more spaces are available for an ad. So you can buy the media in some of the spots by share of voice. So let's say you buy 50% share of voice. Then you can be guaranteed that your message is going to be shown 50% of all of the times that somebody loads that particular app. And also, so that's, I think, is really an important way to look at it when you're trying to, with something like top of mind awareness. Now we are aware when you buy that too, you don't always want your brand associated with some of the news stories, so that kind of is, in all transparency, that's a chance you take with that. And next, so pre-roll video and display, just in general, video, pre-roll, that is a trend. Like I said, video, anything video. Wherever you can place your video, it's probably 90% of the internet now. People are more likely to watch a video than take the time to read a story. One of the hottest trends that I've seen with at least this particular news app is their East Texas Now. I don't know if any of y'all have watched that, but they offer a little bit of way for the public to be involved with the newscasters. So they have a chat system, and you can see where people type in questions and the newscasters talk back to them. I think this is really more of a way of them following the trend of not being just so advertised and told the news to. They're really trying to get the public to be involved with their messaging. And that's why I picked this slide to show, because I wanted to show that even just non-businesses, the media, are really trying to follow the trend of getting more of the audience back involved and not just advertising to people. And I know it sounds weird, me as an advertiser, saying people don't want to be advertised, but that's one of the things that we all are faced with, how to reach these kids that do not look at any of this stuff. How do you do that? And there are lots of different ways, because the I call them kids, I'm 45, so, it doesn't take too much for me to call somebody a kid now. But there really are avenues that they listen to. And a lot of it is peer-to-peer, of course, the social media, that's going to be where you're going to get that, I say younger generation. Any thoughts, questions before we move on that? Okay, so the next part is display. Now this is a broad topic. These are basically any banner ads that you see on a website, and y'all know you'll see them across the top, the side, all over the place. Sometimes it's really, really too much. I'm sure y'all have all probably clicked on one of those like top 10 lists on Facebook, and it starts loading so many ads that your phone crashes and you can't even get through to the information that you're seeing. So I think not necessarily a trend. I mean, that is a trend for what I feel like the people who are doing it wrong are. I think a lot of times that side really will just put people off on it. There are ways to keep that from happening. You have to be careful with your media buys, who you're buying it from, where it's placed. Again, and a lot of with display, I think now you really need to pay attention to your targeting and the abilities that each kind of medium gives you. Because remember, in any digital marketing, really any marketing, the whole idea is to find your market that are interested in your business and put your message in front of them there. So the lookalike audience, some of these systems can recognize now, what website you go to, what website you've been to before, and they'll build audiences and then send those ads out to people who look like your already existing customers. Now that's changing, and we'll get to that in a second with all of the privacy changes that are coming about. Search targeting, it's kind of like Google search, but when you do a search, then you'll have the ability to be served banner ads. Remarketing, I mean, that became a trend a while ago, and that is still going strong. I mean, you look up a product on Amazon, and then you're seeing that product like for the rest of your life. You feel like, you're like, I've already bought this toaster, please stop showing it to me. So whenever you do place a remarketing ad, and the rules are you really can only retarget somebody for 30 days. So I know it feels like it's like forever sometimes, but still it can be a very powerful tool. I want to show you, you'll see that top screen there. One of our clients is My Plates. They're the specialty license plates vendor for the state of Texas. And I want to say I'm very fortunate to have them as a client or Encore is, because it's really given all of us and me a chance to really expand out of our market from just buying media in our regional market to they're a statewide company. And believe me, I almost fell out when I saw the rates in Houston and Dallas versus here, so just kind of having that breadth of knowledge has really helped me ground and center myself to when I'm buying media in our area or wherever it is. Again, the top is an example of, it's a dynamic banner ad. And so if you went on, now we're not running these right now. This was about 6 months ago or so. So don't go home and try this because we're not doing this right now. But somebody would go on and look at a license plate. If they didn't make a purchase, then they would be served an ad with different banner ads. Geofencing is really a hot trend right now, has been for a couple of years. This is where you can basically establish a virtual area around wherever you want to, besides a school. You can't geofence a school, but you can geofence the areas right outside a school. So for My Plates, we geofence. So My Plates has like Dallas Cowboy plates, Baylor plates. So we geofence the stadiums of the games when they're having home games. So putting that together, you've got a Baylor fan in the stadium watching a Baylor game. Idea is they see the Baylor ad. Now, we realize, you're at the game, you're watching the game. hopefully you're not on your phone looking. That's where the remarketing trend comes in, that you can remarket to these people for 30 days after they leave the event or wherever you're geo-targeting. So that's really where we see the benefit of this, kind of trend. And then also a new, I don't know if it's really a trend, but it's an ability, is conversion reporting with the geofencing. So if someone sees your ad that you've geofenced and then they come into your physical location, you can see that as a conversion action, which is really important to a lot of with the digital media, is figuring out ways to know that it's working for you. And I had a client one time, and it really was beneficial to me. They said, well, I have never gotten a bad digital marketing report. I'm like, that is really something powerful to think about, because as a marketer and an advertiser, with the reporting, with everything you're doing, you're kind of telling a story, and you want to be able to be sure and keep your integrity and not just spin the numbers. You want to be helpful to the clients. And so I say that whoever y'all are working with, or if it's yourself, just take it for, it's not always going to be good. Take it for the good and the bad, and and just learn from it, and make sure that whoever you're working with has the integrity and ability to do that with you. So let's get to the trends. So the privacy changes. So I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen, when you go to a website now, you've got that banner across the bottom that says, can you accept cookies, and you're like, well, what kind of cookies am I eating here? Oatmeal, chocolate chip, what are we doing here? So a few years ago, it kind of all started, I think the public really started realizing that just how much they were being tracked, their every action, every move. And there's a real big movement now to give the public the ability to decide whether you want to be tracked or not. So on the public side, I would say that's a good thing. On the marketing side, from where we've been moving into all of the automation, Google knowing everything, these systems knowing everything that you do, that's a challenge for us. How do we go and find these people now where some of the systems were finding them before? How do we do that on our own? And how do we make sure that we're following all of the rules now? So when you see the dialog boxes where you can accept cookies or not, most of those are asking permission for what we call first-party data. Now we could do a whole Lunch Learn Lead on just privacy changes. So I don't want to concentrate on this too much, because you really can get caught up in the weeds, and it can be daunting and confusing to try to figure out, well, is it the GDPR, which is more of the European rules, or is it how Google's changing, which Google said they were going to basically make a lot of changes this year, and then they put it off to next year. So a lot of this is still up in the air for this. Just remember the first party data. That is, let's say somebody goes to your website, and you have Google Analytics on your website, and you have that information. That's your information. So that's where a lot of the websites, when they ask for permission, and not just on that level, but that's kind of what they're asking for. But also they could be selling the information too. So I would say, just having your own data now is so very important. So again, and then moving on to contextual, that kind of targeting is where if somebody is on like a site about car batteries, and then they're served a car battery ad. So that's the system putting together that connection with those two without using any kind of data that they've mined from different sources before the person hits that website. So that's a powerful way and that was really popular, kind of leads into my next, what I call kind of old-fashioned demographics, just knowing who your customer is and not relying on the automated technology so much to find that customer for you. You know, you really have to sit down and think. And I mean, this is how we used to do it. You know, well, I sell this product. Who are my customers? Are they male, female, 25 to 35? Are they 18 years old? Really just kind of sitting back and thinking and, you know, paying attention to who your customers are, because you can create a demographic profile yourself, and then, you know, you'll be able to better know which mediums to use, or to help the agency that you're working with know who your customers are, and then they can help you decide where to find them. So overall on that, you know, kind of pay attention to the privacy changes if you really want to do a deep dive into this. And really, I'm a big proponent of, you know, Googling it and educating yourself on any changes, any trends coming through, because there's no way in an hour here with one person, you know, sharing knowledge will you ever get the breadth of all of y'all looking from your own perspectives of what, you know, what is going to be best for your company. So the next time here is email and SMS. That's SMS or text messages. So when this is probably, I think, one of the, I don't want to say hottest trends, but it's probably going to be one of the most powerful and changing trends of our upcoming future. Companies are really getting smarter with the way they use email to your customers. I don't know if y'all remember, and I actually did not remember this, and I thought it was interesting. There was a server crash back in October of 2021, and it took out Facebook, it took out Amazon, you know, I think it was a lot of the Amazon servers. It took out for a whole day all of the social engines. And so you can think, as an advertiser, if that's your way to message to people, that's gone. I mean, it kind of makes you feel like, and kind of sit back and remember that, you know, I'm using somebody else's platform here. You know, they control me getting the message out. They shut that off, and, you know, you have no avenue. That's where a lot of people, I think, really, the trend in really realizing that how important email was, and maintaining your own email lists. Y'all might hear a lot of, it used to be really popular, it's not as popular anymore, of like buying a list. I don't know if y'all use Constant Contact or MailChimp, some of the email systems that you can use. If you try to put a bought list in there, they will know, and they will shut your account down. And we had this happen to us a few years ago. One of our clients said, well, this is our list, you know, put it in there. Apparently it was not really their list. They had bought it from somewhere, and Constant Contact, they didn't shut the whole account down, but I had to make a call, you know. So maintaining your own lists is, I just think it's very important. How many of y'all maintain your email lists here? Okay, good. So if you're not, just, it's never too late to start. Just start making a spreadsheet, write it down on paper, however. I mean, the ideal way, I will tell you, is to have, you know, that ability on your website for people to sign up and have that connected to Constant Contact or MailChimp, because then MailChimp and Constant Contact, and those are just two of the more popular email programs, they will help maintain it. So if somebody unsubscribes, then they automatically push them out of the list. A lot of great information that they remember, and that we'll kind of get into our trends of that. I think all of you probably know, you know, with anything when you're contacting somebody individually or like in an email, and especially on their cell phone, just to make sure that you are giving them something, you know, a discount, something exclusive to make them want to engage with you and really still be okay with receiving that kind of information from you. Again, stay aware of privacy changes. Email is having that too. The MPP, that's a mail protection. It's an Apple thing that Apple is trying. Apple's really big on privacy now. So we haven't seen too much fallout from their changes with their email systems, but just try, kind of stay aware of any privacy changes that come about with email. Now, it's not as much as you'll see on the display and the banner ad side, again, because people have really, you've subscribed. You're like, I'm okay with receiving information from y'all. What I'm seeing in email and text messaging as one of the trends is personalization for the emails. Now that's more, any email program application can put somebody's first name in there. That's personalized, and that used to be, people used to kind of be impressed by that, but not anymore. I think people almost more expect to see, okay, you're in my email box, you're talking to me. There are many different ways that you can personalize the emails and take it a step further. The segmentation, what that is a lot of these email programs, you can tell it to segment the list. So let's say you have an email list, and then the email program sees that, okay, these people actually clicked through to your website, or these people just opened it and didn't do anything else. So you can think the people that opened the email and went to your website, those are in a different level and more, I wouldn't say more valuable, but they're just in a different side than the people who didn't open it. So you want to be sure that whatever messaging you're giving to people, you pay attention to. Let's say you'll have a different message for people who opened it and went to your site. It used to be popular that as soon as you went to somebody's website, you could get an email or something like that. Hey, I saw you or on our website. That's creepy. People do not like that anymore, and I'm so glad that nobody has even tried to sell us that service in a while, Now, some ways you might could use it as beneficial, but I wouldn't just come out and say, hey, I see that you're on my website now, So, again, another is optimizing the send times. A lot of this, too, is just getting to know the program that you're using, whether it's Constant Contact, MailChimp, whatever it is, and all of the abilities that has. So if you see that or your system is telling you that a certain part of your list, is only opening the email at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. You can even segment your list to that, so you probably don't want to send an email out to the person who is running their kids to school in the morning. That's not the best time. Or Friday afternoons when everybody's getting off work. Nobody's gonna pay attention to anything you send to them Friday afternoon, basically. So that's what I kind of mean by optimizing the send times. And a lot of it, the trend is just getting into it and thinking about how you can make it beneficial for the person you're reaching. And don't let it overwhelm you either, because you're like, how am I going to, I want to reach 20,000 people. How am I going to make it beneficial to all of those people? Use the system's abilities that they give you and the automation that they have to take advantage of that. And again, all of it's about getting your message in front of the people when they need to see the message. The dynamic content, that's a really big trend we're seeing. I use this hydro jug as an example because I bought one of those a couple of days ago, and I expected as a marketer, so immediately they were hitting me with the emails, with the text messages. Sometimes I think it's a little too much, so don't when you think more is not always better, don't get into that idea, well, I can text message them 20 times a day because I have their number. You can see they sent me a message on Saturday, Sunday, and then yesterday, which I think was Tuesday. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I think they may have kind of been testing me too, because I think this might be a trend just to see what people's tolerance level is. And probably get that data out of it, I haven't unsubscribed yet. So, they probably have me in a category that, hey, she's going to at least not leave us over this, So let's keep pushing these messages out. And that probably, like I said, they're probably using the system to push me in a different category and send me more messages rather than, somebody who got the email and never clicked on their earn more points, which I haven't done yet. So a lot of times I use this as a marketer just to see, and all of y'all do this, how are other people using the technologies, and what happens when I do click on that? What happens when I do say, yes, you can text me? Being aware of that kind of gets back to the email frequency there too. You can see if you've sent out 4 emails a month and your unsubscribe rate is going up, pay attention to that, because that will kind of help you establish a baseline of how many times you can send an email out, but also it kind of goes back to don't send an email out unless you really have something that you want to tell the people. And one of the things we found that helps with that at work, especially because we're all busy in our businesses, to make what we call a creative calendar, where you lay out your topics for a month. And so you start working. It's a lot easier to do that with email than it is like with social media. So, just have a plan that is workable. And don't just send an email out or do any updates or anything like that just to be updating them. It's going to not be the most efficient use of your time. And I think, again, the public is really getting more knowledgeable to seeing that. And I feel it too. If I get an email that really doesn't give me something, I mean, we're all a kind of give me society, what are you going to give me for this action that I'm doing for you? So I feel just keep that in mind, whatever it is that you have to give to people, whether it's a discount, a code, something. And one of the next trends is just creating individualized destinations. And what I mean by that is, they see I bought the hydro jug, so they sent me an email to earn more points. So that's something that just I can do since I bought the product. Somebody that's new to your business, send them to the homepage, or whatever it is, an educational type of thing. So, and that's really an overall just good tip with any kind of advertising, making sure that wherever you're sending them, and this will kind of get into the next presentation that y'all hopefully will attend, like the website, making sure your website is ready to receive that traffic and is serving the traffic in a beneficial way. So only got about 10 minutes here, so y'all, I apologize. I'll try to get through this quicker. Usually my bosses will kick me under the table when I start just kind of rambling on, but y'all can't reach me, so. Okay, social. So that is it's a hot trend, an ever-changing trend. Just a little bit of education. You've got your demographic. You can target age, location, gender. Facebook's kind of cracking down on some of the targeting that they've previously allowed. Just a quick example. One of our clients is a John Deere dealer, and we used to target our social ads by people who owned a property or who lived in a house, because you have to think, people who are in an apartment or something like that, they don't need a John Deere tractor most likely. So it's just a way to, Facebook has since removed that, and they're constantly they create their own trends every day with how they change up their business side and how you can target. But really just use it to the best of the ability. And again, it kind of goes back to that, really you sitting down and thinking, who's my client? Who are they interested in? Remarketing and lookalike. The remarketing, again, is a really popular thing on social media. I'm sure it's it's immediate and it's powerful when used right. You click on an ad on social media and then you're seeing not just that ad, but all kinds of other ads that are related to that product. So that's really, I've seen it as a trend and what a lot of the advertisers have started to use, telling Facebook, hey, remarket to these people, these types of people. Conversion is a big thing now. So Facebook can know, now this kind of gets into the privacy issues again, which is kind of an overall, I don't know if I'd call it a trend, but it's a change. Facebook does not have visibility into most Apple users anymore, so they don't have they used to be able to track you completely through what you did on a website, all of your actions after you left the platform. Well, Apple has really taken a lot of steps to not do that. And we saw, My Plates is a completely online business, so it's a good one to judge whether your ads are working or not. We saw a 80% drop in our conversions after Facebook made that change with Apple. And it wasn't because people weren't buying the product still. Our sales were still consistent. It's just that Facebook could not see those conversions anymore, so they couldn't report on it. So keeping up with that kind of side too, I think is really, really important. Use Google Trends. So, this is all a trend. Have y'all ever used Google Trends before? It's kind of fun to play with. You can have Google, and I wanted to see, okay, what are people just searching and looking up more? Now, is it TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, what is it? So this was from May 7th to May 27th, and you can filter down to our Texas area or your region. So we can see Facebook is still the top search, then it's followed by Instagram. This is just Google using its information of all of people searching Google to tell you what is the trendiest search right now. And I honestly thought when I ran this screen that TikTok would be the top. That was kind of my intention when I did this search, because we all hear TikTok. So that leads me into the trends of what I'm seeing, user-generated content and influencers. Now, don't let this intimidate you, because when you hear influencers, you think, well, I don't know anybody with 1 million followers on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. How am I going to do that? Especially in our local region, and because I think most of us, I say not all of us, but a lot of us around here, we are advertising regionally or locally. Your influencers, and I'll show y'all some neat examples here in a minute, of influencers may not be what you generally think they are. Again, TikTok continues to grow. Okay, so I am curious, how many of y'all have a TikTok account here? Okay, now how many of y'all use it for your business? Have any of y'all run TikTok ads yet? So you see the ads that are being run on there. We actually opened up our TikTok business account the couple weeks ago. And I want to show you all. So that, now TikTok for Business is sending me emails. This is something I thought I would never see. Something like TikTok that didn't even exist a few years ago. I mean, Facebook was the same thing. But now, there are a lot of ways that you can use it. And don't think that you have to, with a TikTok video, with your business, don't think it has to be some kind of crazy teenager out doing something crazy. People really, from a lot of the trends that I've read about, people just really like seeing people talk about their product and their business. Either get you on there or some of your employees, or whatever you can do. Just a lot of it is just try it and see how comfortable you are with doing it. I've read that it really gets a lot easier, the more you do it. Now, like I said, I'm fortunate. We have a team behind us, So I'm the one that's behind the computer. I am not the one that has to be in front of TikTok unless, we decide we're really going to push ourselves on TikTok. Then they might have me on that flip side of the camera. But again, it just really continues to grow. Their business ads, I was really happy to see this. A lot of the mediums have minimum buy-ins, and I thought, well, TikTok probably is a pretty high spend point. Their minimum buy-in is $25 a day, and you can target it to DMA, which DMA is an old TV term. It's designated market area. So that's basically like you can target it by like Tyler, Longview, Lufkin, Nacogdoches area, which is not bad for a lot of our businesses. You can probably serve that area. I was happy to see that when I was looking to start, getting our clients more into TikTok ads. And, you have to make sure that you're the right fit, but the TikTok age, like y'all raised your hand, and we're not kids in here. We are, the customers that you're looking for. So all ages are using TikTok now. It's the same thing. Facebook, it used to be the young people, then it changed to the older people, then it was Instagram. The kids flocked to Instagram, then the parents went to Instagram, then the kids went off Instagram and they went to TikTok. And then Snapchat somewhere along there, and it's kind of just basically disappeared. A lot of that kind of goes back to just keeping up with what's popular right now. Where are people right now, and being sure you can pivot away from that when it, if next year, the kids have found somewhere else because now the parents are on TikTok, Again, the testimonials from real customers, real people, just getting that real message out there to people, I think is just really, just keep that in mind. And, if you're not writing your own content, just make sure you have a partner that can really sit down with you and pay attention to what you're doing. We've seen a lot of, there are a lot of companies, advertising agencies or advertisers who are not around here, or who they specialize in, let's say, just medical advertising or insurance advertising. And they'll write the same content for every client that they have. And there are just such better ways to do it, with more personalization. The people really need to get to know your business, not just your type of business. Short form videos, that kind of goes back to most of the TikTok videos. We're such a, they call it snackable video now. We're such a short-term, attention span now has really become a trend now. And, you really just kind of have to go with the flow with that, I think, sometimes a little bit, and just make sure that you are prepared to do some short videos. We used to live in the world of, you had a 30-second TV spot or a 15-second TV spot. That was the shortest you ever got. We had 60-second TV spots. Can you imagine your average, 20-year-old sitting down and watching a whole minute of an ad now? They probably would never do it. They can watch 15 videos in that time span. So just kind of being in that mind frame. It's personally not my favorite type of mind frame, but being aware and knowledgeable of it, you can be powerful to use it for good. Social media crisis plan, that's kind of always been there, but really with the more people you get on your social platforms, just be prepared to deal with that. I'll use an example. We had a client who was one of the like emergency services here, and it wasn't around here. But when they first open, they don't take Medicare, and you get some people who are very, very upset and vocal, on social media when they just, in any business, when people find out something that they don't like about your business, they will tell you quick on social media where they would never say it to you in person. So we had a whole team. We had spreadsheets of different things we could tell to people, different people to contact, different ways to overall, you want to be helpful to them, because if you can solve a person's problem, that's way more beneficial for sure, because then that person's going to tell their friends, I had this bad experience, but they fixed it for me. Again, we're kind of that, what can you give me society. Okay, so I have, these are my quick examples of some ways we've used user-generated content recently. For some of the Dairy Queens, we do their social media. So one, just real simple, was a coin toss, and really we wanted comments and we wanted people to enter the contest. Facebook, another kind of trend is that they really don't like, you see all the, well, like this post, share this post, and you're entered to win the contest. First of all, that's pretty much against their terms of service, and I think people are just kind of worn out with that. So coming up with different ways to get people involved and comment on the post. So, do you like the dilly bar or whatever, flip a coin and tell us. Just a simple way to get people to do something. Now the next slide I wanted to show you is a use of an influencer that you probably would not think that a 90-year-old lady would be an influencer. But, people see that. They see the family. That's the idea that Dairy Queen wants to portray. And so we didn't have to go out and find someone with 1 million followers to really have that influence on people. And also we had some ETBU students to come in and make some videos out of them so they could kind of be our influencers for that kind of side. So I just wanted to show you that because I know, when you think of influencers, just kind of like, I can't afford them, they're not going to talk to me. All different kinds of people can be influencers. And you're an influencer for your own business. You really, really are. And our last slide is probably what I think is the hottest topic right now is connected TV, streaming TV. So I'm sure probably most of you in here use some type of streaming service to get your TV. You may watch regular TV every once in a while, but y'all, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, they all have their different ways of, now Netflix doesn't have ads yet. They're talking about it. They started talking about it and their stock plummeted and their subscribers left. So that was surprising, kind of keeping up with that. That Netflix side probably doesn't want to see ads. People on Hulu who are on the free subscription, they expect it. They're fine with that. The service is giving them that service. You're watching the ads. It goes back to how traditional TV did it. They make their money off of the advertisers. So again, the trend in this is that I've seen highly over the last 5-8 years since we first started placing streaming is just a real budget shift from traditional over to streaming. Another benefit of that is the streaming is generally a cookieless environment, so you don't have to worry about any of the privacy issues that you kind of have to worry about with, with some of the other types of digital media. So again, the spend is going up. 84% of people are increasing their budgets. We've done it. Again, there are uses for traditional. I don't want to discount that at all because, like you said, you're not going to go to Hulu to see your local weather report. If there's a tornado warning, you're not going to turn your Peacock on. You might turn on the Weather Channel on your streaming service. But again, they're picking your uses for traditional and streaming is really something to look at and think about when either you or your agency is deciding on your budget these days. Automatic content recognition is a very important trend to streaming TV, and in a marketer's world, this is kind of almost like a dream come true. So the system that you're using, and a lot of this works off of the different information that your network provider can gain from you. So let's say you're using your cable provider's streaming service. They basically have like set-top box data. You know, they know what you're watching. They know where you skip the ads. They have a lot of that information. And so they can then create the ads and serve them to you based off of, you know, what you're interested in, what type of show you are, or what type of show you're watching. We buy this differently than you buy traditional media. When you buy a streaming platform, you tell the platform what type of person you want to reach instead of what channel or what show you want to be on. You cannot specify a show with streaming. So in a lot of ways, just think of it more as a truly digital side of buying commercials. QR codes are kind of making a comeback. This surprised me too. You know, they were really popular for a while, and then they kind of went away. But most people who are watching a streaming or TV now, they've got their phone in front of them, or they've got their iPad or whatever as well. So if they see a QR code pop up, it's real easy to take a picture of it now with your camera, and then right then you're sending that person straight to your website, or at that point, you know, personalize it even more with, you know, a discount code, you know, say, hey, you know, here's a discount for you for, you know, watching our show or whatever. At that point, it's not creepy because the person has scanned the QR code. So that's, again, you know, just the whole streaming side. Oh, and I want to tell y'all one thing with Amazon. So they have Prime, and it's about to be called Freevee, I think. Yeah, Freevee. So it's the ad-supported side of Amazon Prime. But what excites me about this as a marketer is they have all of the data. So they know, let's say, every mom who has gone to Amazon and bought diapers. So that mom is getting some diaper ads. And that is very valuable. Now, they have a pretty steep buy-in to get on their ads and use that data. But just think of it in terms of that's where this is going. You know, it's no longer the, you know, you just might catch somebody sitting down for dinner. You know, they're pretty much watching that, and you can target them a lot of the same ways as the traditional or the digital ways. So any questions? I know I've got to wrap this up. I have the summary screen here. So in all, just be aware of the privacy changes that are coming about. You know, educate yourself on those. The live and short video, you know, be starting to get prepared to get into that world. And connected TV, streaming TV. So overall, you know, whether you're going to do any of this yourself, and don't get overwhelmed if you're going to try to do it yourself. I always feel like, you know, just kind of pick one and learn about that, see how you can do with it. Or if you're partnering with an agency, just, you know, I wanted to make sure to help educate all of us to be aware of what, you know, with these trends, what your agencies or your partners should be talking to you about, you know, whether it's us at Encore or your internal marketing team, you know, just wherever you're going to get this, or yourself. Just make sure overall, like I said, these are just my takeaways for this talk today. You know, this may change 2 weeks ago. That's kind of the idea of trends. You know, you have to keep up with them. So privacy, video, and connected TV streaming. So I know I've taken all the time here for discussion. Do y'all have any quick questions or anything? I know we've kind of, yes, sir.
You are using Android or Apple?
It depends on, you know, just general use.
Or which one is happier? Apple people, Android people?
You know, Apple people, I'm an Apple user. I always have been an Apple user, so I'm in the Apple box. So I'm a happy Apple user in the Apple box. You know, the Android people, they have a different thought, you know, and they're happy with what they're using. There still are not a lot of, you know, people that like have a Mac laptop, but they have an Android phone.
I think they're about
So-
the same price now.
The phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the laptops are, you know, vastly different. You know, to answer your question and put it into perspective with our talk here, I think more people who are maybe privacy oriented are more Apple side. And this is really something I hadn't thought about, you know, and more people who want more power and more ability to do things with their devices are the Android side. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I went from those SEO companies to now voice search
Uh-huh.
companies. Is that even necessary to register your business for voice search?
I would say overall, it doesn't hurt. Whatever you can do. And that's one thing I didn't, you know, I only had limited time, and y'all see I've already taken all your time here today. So the streaming radio, streaming voice searches, those are a big up and coming thing, yes, and a lot of people do use those. So I would register yourself, yes. Mhm. Anything else? I know y'all have lives to go to, and so thank y'all so much. I have cards up here for y'all if y'all would like to grab a card before you leave. Again, thank y'all so much for sitting through for over an hour with me. Thank you.
Good information.
Thank you.